Well, good afternoon. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a nice day here in Pennsylvania, zone 6. It's going to be warming up to like 90 degrees today, a little bit of breeze, which is nice for working out in the garden, but I'm already starting to sweat. But anyhow, now it's time to plant those warm weather crops, and recently I visited Ray's greenhouse and bought all my warm weather crops. And today I wanted to share with you some tips and ideas on how you can plant mountain fresh tomatoes in your vegetable garden. And this is what they look like. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, behind every plant label they do give you some helpful information. So let's just take a second here and read this. Mountain fresh tomatoes are beautiful, flattened, globe-shaped tomatoes. They're crack and disease resistant, and they mature in 70 days. It's best in organic, rich, well-drained soil, water freely in dry weather. And of course they like full sun, anything with a root or fruit. They like a good 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. And also, they are a determinate type tomato plant, which means they'll grow anywhere from 36 inches to 42 inches. And most of the time, the fruit will come or ripen all at one time. So they're helpful if you do a lot of canning. The other variety is an indeterminate tomato plant, and they're going to produce tomatoes right up into the frost. And I'm going to be planting these in my 18-foot by 30-foot raised garden bed behind me. I'm going to be planting these in my 6 mil polyethylene plastic. And that's really helpful for holding in the soil moisture and suppressing the weeds. And it also warms the soils up early in the season. And this 6-pack here cost me $1.60, so it's very reasonable. But anyhow, I'm going to be planting these right behind me in the garden, so follow me along. And so this market pack of 6 cost me $1.60, which is very reasonable. And you know, it's always good to inspect the root system on these little plants when you pull them out of the market pack. Make sure they're not root bound. Make sure they haven't been growing too long in the pack. And you want to make sure this gets a good 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. And you know, tomatoes are something you can grow deeper. You know, grow up. You can plant it up to like your first branch. And so that'll result in a little healthier plant. And I'm going to water these as I go along here. But I have 6 of these that I'm going to plant here. I also have an irrigation system that I use here. I use 1/2-inch PVC plastic. I have 1/16 inch holes drilled about 10 inches apart. And it really works out really well. And again, don't forget you can plant these a little deeper. And of course you want to keep these well watered during the season. I also peeled this black plastic back and tilled the soil underneath my plastic, and then I added some of my alfalfa pellets, which will add a nice slow release fertilizer to the soil and feed the plant all summer long. Again, something really easy to do. You know, using these seedlings really gives you a jump on the season. And these plants are going to just love this heat here that we're having here in Pennsylvania. Sometimes you can pull the first branch off. And so I have one more to go. And I just use my hand as a trowel because my soil is nice and loose. And then you just want to, again, make sure they stay well watered. Anyhow, you can see how easy it is to plant these vegetables, these tomatoes. And you know, this is a new variety we're planting this year. I always enjoy experimenting every year with different vegetables and plants. That's something I would encourage you to think about trying in your garden. But anyhow, these are great for sandwiches. You know, we're also do our own canning, you know, and so we plant a lot of tomatoes. We can at least 50 quarts of tomato sauce every year. Well, anyhow, if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And you can also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. And there you can learn more about gardening and also how you can reclaim your health by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Well, anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.